Okay, we've got enough. So, welcome everybody to another edition of Headlights Live. Um, I would say good morning, good afternoon, and I'm Paul Salmon. So, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out today to be with us. So, this is April. We're about 28 days from peak season. So, we figure we'll get everybody together and remind you, reiterate, talk about how we're going to handle this peak season, how operations and sales are going to be like this and not this. So, but before we get into all of that, we've got myself, as I said earlier, and I've got Doug Robinson on here, who's the expert on operations. I've got April on here to correct me when I say something wrong. I've got other folks on here, but for the most part, you'll hear me and Doug. But one of the things that you'll hear today, which is going to be like a echo in your ear, is expectations, follow up, communicate. You're going to hear that over and over again. We'll beat that like a dead horse. So peak season is on its way. So before we go into the topic that we're going to go into today, we've got some reminders and stuff to tell you about that we always tell you. So we've been focusing on the longevity market. That's the older adult market. And if you've heard the acronym NASM, National Association of Senior Move Managers, then you've probably heard silver certification, which is kind of goes hand in hand. So if you're interested in being silver certified, then you should email training@wvlcorp.com and we'll get you all the information that you need to get started. And as always, the Van Line just loves feedback. So what we did was we created a feedback lane where you could actually call into a number 317-558-0801, and we'll have questions on that voicemail, or you could just leave your feedback. And who knows, we may use this audio in something that we do in the future. In terms of video networking, this is very simple. This is a great way to get your own shout out without me giving you a shout out. So this is where you make a short video on your cell phone, your smartphone, just saying who you are, something good about your agency, where you're located, anything that you would like the network to know, and just send it into wheatonmarketing@wvlcorp.com, or you can text it to 317-518-1059. And today, luckily for us, we have two folks who raised their hand and said, I'm going to do this. So we have Scott from McCarley and James from Arpin Moving and Storage. Can't hear, Maddie. Okay, it's coming. It's coming.
Hello, everyone. Scott here with McCarley Moving and Storage, new Wheaton agent 1580. Currently transitioning from United Van Lines, where we've been for 70 years. Been in the industry for 80 years, servicing Columbus, Georgia, Fort Moore, Georgia, previously Fort Benning, Georgia area. We have 40,000 square feet, full service moving company, OADA office, industrial, warehousing. So check us out, McCarleyMoving.com, and look forward to meeting everyone. And thank you. Have a great day.
Good.
Well, I'm James Friesenhahn. I'm with Arpin America Moving and Storage. We're based in Dallas, agent 7276. We actually service all over the United States, but specifically the Dallas, Houston area. We just really try to help all customers out of all different needs.
Good. So that was pretty simple and easy. So hopefully next month we'll be overloaded with these videos. So as I say every month or every time that I'm on these events, everyone has a part to play in what we do in this industry, in our network, in your organization. But clearly the person or the persons that the customer sees face to face, mostly after the sales is done, is a driver. So we try to acknowledge drivers each month. And each month, this month, for at least the month of March, we are acknowledging James Urban from Borman Moving and Storage as our driver of the month. This is James's 4th driver of the month award. So kudos to James. And Marco Labasio of Transtar Moving Systems in Morristown, New Jersey. This is Marco's second driver of the month, and Marco also represents TransStar, which is the 2023 Beacons Agent of the Year. So if you see these gentlemen come in your office to deliver a loaded shipment, just give them an extra bottle of water, some coffee, pat on the back. Thank you for your service, all of that good stuff, because someone from your office may be getting this award eventually. And this qualifies these gentlemen to be Driver of the Year for 2024. So on the line of kudos and pat on the back and all of that, we select 2 agents of the month, one for each brand. For this month, we have, for the Wheaton brand, we have Exodus Moving and Storage in Colorado. They were started in 1996 and family owned and operated. This is their 4th agent of the month. So kudos to them. And for Beacons, we have agent of the month for March is Star Moving Solutions in Dulles, Virginia. They are, this is their 2nd agent of the month. They were started in 1998. And the good thing about them, this is an extra shout out for them, is they are a licensed international forwarding company. And they currently do a lot of work with our Wheaton Beacons network. So if you have international opportunities, this is a great place to reach out to these folks, Jimmy Reed and the fellas and the guys and gals in Dulles, Virginia. So kudos to them. Send a little note to them saying kudos, because who knows, it may be you next time. And also, these folks are qualified to be Agent of the Year for 2024. All right. So, as I said,
thanks for the shout out, Paul.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for the shout out.
Oh, they made me do it, Jimmy.
I
agree. Thanks, Paul, for the shout out. Exodus Moving and Storage.
Oh,
Loving
wow.
it. Thanks.
They made me do that one too. Congrats, guys. Congrats. So, as I said earlier, we're going to go into some reminders for peak season. I'm going to touch on the sales piece, and some of these things are stuff that you obviously already know, but it's just a reiteration of things to remember that we kind of take for granted sometimes. So, before the appointment, this is on the sales side, before the appointment, there are a number of things you need to be aware of. One of the things that's most important is in Access on that first page, I believe in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little colorful thing as you see on our screen. It's called the Booking Capacity Calendar. What that is for a salesperson, it allows that salesperson to know and see where we're booked up in capacity, where we're not booked up. And that's an important factor for you to know as a salesperson before your appointment. That way, you're able to determine if I'm going to need a DCL, a day certain load, or priority relocation services. But the booking capacity calendar is like a Bible to you, or one of the Bibles that you have, or one of the tools in your tools box. So check your SRA tables. Now, also on Access, forms and manuals, booking tools, there's a little box called SRA tables, seasonal rate adjustment tables. What that is each week the pricing could be adjusted. This is not something that you're going to hand out to Customer Jones, but what you're going to do is be aware of it to be able to allow Customer Jones the options in the event of, should I move this week or should I move next week? It may cost me 10% more if I move next week. So this kind of allows you to see where we are in terms of the percentage differences and what type of advice to provide to Customer Jones. I can't say this enough. I mentioned expectations. You're going to hear that 15 times, follow up and communication. You got to set the expectations for lead time for your customers. Not just only your customers, but your referral partners, which are your customers as well. And these are folks like your real estate partners. You want to have that little meeting with them, not a little meeting, but a meeting with them to remind them how much time they need to give you and to give that information to their customers so they understand how much lead time we need. As much time as possible is always good. Doug's going to go into the details of that a little bit more. But in follow-up, I mentioned follow-up is the big word that we're going to use more over and over again. In our industry, salespeople, I'm telling you now, if you follow up, those that follow up are not average. They're above average. The average person doesn't follow up as often as or as consistent as they should be. If you follow up, folks, this will avoid any type of changes, any type of leavovers, because leavovers are that bad word that the customer hates and we hate and Doug hates as well. So follow up, and make sure we're not doing anything that we don't need to be doing. So during the estimate, I can't list all the things that you need to do in the estimate. These are reminders. Lead time with your customers. Again, we're beating that dead horse. Explain that load and delivery spread. Mrs. Jones does not understand what that means. She wants her stuff on October 24th or July 24th. That has to be explained to customer Jones that this is how it operates. Explain. And the video, the valuation video. I'm going to tell you this. If you show this video, you will not have to open your mouth about valuation, because it's going to cover everything. It's only about probably 90 seconds long, but it's pretty explicit, explanatory, it's self-explanatory, and it will give you everything you need. That's something you want to make sure that you are letting your customers know or making them aware of in that estimate. So it says during booking, but I'm going to say just don't look at that part. Going back 2 slides, don't move, Maddie, but 2 slides ago, we talked about the booking calendar. We have some lanes, this whole country, and some of the most remote states that we have are the most beautiful. But we have some states and some locations that are a little bit difficult. So the discounts, obviously, we want to make that a little bit lower. We want to adjust your pricing accordingly so we can build that trust with Mrs. Jones and provide the level of service that we need to provide to Mrs. Jones. So keep in mind that, look at that calendar, see those areas where it's a little difficult to get to. You want to adjust that pricing to accommodate so everybody gets to eat from this shipment. And also, if it's a lane that's looking to fill up, again, adjust the pricing to accordingly so we can fill those lanes up, because 100% of nothing is 100% of nothing. We don't want that. You want to register your self-haul shipments with lead time, just like you do the van line hauls. Lead time, especially in the middle of July or June. Lead time is like a gift to you or a God to you. You want to write notes. We were having a meeting the other day in terms of putting this event together. And I think everybody on the call talked about documentation, notes, put stuff in notes. Now, if you go into your into Access, there's 2 sections. There's the external section and the internal section. Please do not mix those up. Your dispatcher looks in that section. They're going to know what's going on if you have heavy items, bulky items. Everyone needs to know what's going on besides you being a salesperson. So we move on, man. So keep that in mind. Document. So I talked about the area in the in Access where it's external area and internal area. So if Mrs. Jones has a big dog or something like that, I don't think Mrs. Jones would mind you saying that. But things like that are helpful as well, because that not only just helps you to be to document and communicate, to provide, to hopefully get the best service out of us from Mrs. Jones, but it also helps everyone else involved to be aware of what's going on. Okay? So moving right along. So this is a unique one right here. So this is the notification screen. You want to make sure that you have the proper personnel designated in your office to make sure that you're getting the notifications. Now, obviously for leads, you got to have somebody designated for that, because especially in the middle of July, you have a lot going on. You want to make sure those are handled really quickly. But also, if you're partaking in an OA service or a DA service, there's a notification as well. You want to make sure that someone is designated in your office to make sure they're aware of these. Now, I will tell you this, folks. If you're the booking agent, even though our system allows us to notify whoever the service provider is, you might want to pick up the phone and call somebody and remind them that, hey, I've got a shipment coming out of or coming in your area. Can you do this? So any little thing in terms of setting the expectation, following up, communication, all of that very pertinent information for a salesperson to provide to everybody else. So I've said enough about what salespeople need to do, and I've missed some, and we're going to reiterate it over and over again. But in order for us to get the service, provide the service that we're looking for, that Mrs. Jones is looking for, this is where we need to stay on top of things and set the expectations, follow up, and communicate. So, Doug, please tell us all about agent operations. Doug, you're on mute, unmute, Doug.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. As Paul mentioned, communication is the key. Can't stress that enough. In particular, communicating with the planner. The planner is going to help make the process smooth for not only your agency, but for the customer and everyone involved as well. Next, I want to show you our planners and just kind of give you a brief background on them. First off, we have Brittany Miller, who just officially became the Southwest planner this past Monday. Brittany has been with the company for over 13 years now and served as a dispatcher. Phil Holdman is the Northeast planner. Phil has over 20 years of experience as a planner here for us. Brett Welch is the Midwest planner. He also has over 20 plus years here with us as a planner. And Tony Bremer is the Northeast or Northwest planner. Tony came over to us when we acquired Stevens Van Lines, where he dispatched and planned there, and has been playing for us now for about 5 years. So Tony also has a great deal of experience. Next, this is the layout of the planning regions. And I just want to make a point now. We're down to 4 regions now. And I'd say over a period of about a year and a half, we actually went from 6 down to 4 planning regions. So as you can imagine, as business over the last year and a half became somewhat soft, it became necessary to sort of rearrange the areas according to our need. Traditionally, the Southwest area is our busiest area, followed now, I'd say, by the Northwest. And pretty much from Texas all the way over to the Southeastern region is almost completely inbound. We end up dedicating a lot of trucks out of those areas to other areas to help offset the imbalance. So you may want to keep that in mind as you're booking shipments as well. Next, just a few requirements, just reminders during peak season. First of all, peak season officially begins May 15th and runs through September 15th. During that time period, we require at least a 7 calendar day advance notice of registering. That also goes for, say, for instance, if you are going to self-haul a shipment and realize that you don't quite have the capacity to cover it and you want to turn it over to the van line to haul, we do require a 7-day advance notice as well. We shift from a 1,500 minimum to a 2,100 pound minimum. And self-haul mileage changes as well. For the 37 central states and eastern states, it's 600 miles. And for the 11 western, it's 700. Day certain load. This gives you an opportunity to book a shipment when otherwise the capacity may be full. You can put a day certain load on, guaranteeing to pick it up and adjust dates accordingly. I'll elaborate a bit here on in conjunction with the extended delivery spread here in just a bit. But also a reminder about designated hauls. When you want to designate another agent to haul a shipment for you, there are some parameters. It must be at least 1,000 miles or less. When that's for you having the ability to arrange hauling the shipment. Does not apply though to contract national account shipments. And also interline shipments, we have restrictions on those during peak season as well, primarily because we want to make sure that we dedicate enough capacity to cover our COD and account shipments. Now, for all the rules that we have here, we do have exceptions. You can apply for an exception through the ERL line or through the email address at erl@wblcorp.com. think we skipped one there. Okay, that's fine. I'll go back. I'll elaborate here on the conjunction with the extended delivery spread. When you book a DCL shipment, say for instance, we have a restriction and you want to book the shipment for, say, June 2nd, but we have a restriction through June 5th. We can grant an exception to go ahead and allow you to register that shipment to show a loading spread of June 2nd. However, when you go to add the delivery spread on, you have to make sure that you're considering the first available day that the restriction is over with. So in other words, if the area is restricted through June 5th, you have to take into account that shipment loading on June 6th and take the delivery spread from there, as opposed to starting it as if it loaded on June 2nd. Now I'm ready for PRS. PRS is a way to give you the opportunity to, I'm sorry, we have a question here. First of all, have you utilized PRS in peak season? Has anybody done that before?
Just complete the poll and we'll see how wrong we are about this. Keep going, Doug. We'll give him a second to do it.
First of all, PRS, here's the parameters for a PRS. Has to be at least 6,000 pounds or less. What we do is we'll arrange a freight hauler and we'll get a quote for you from the freight hauler. We will also arrange for a destination agent on our end. One of the reasons we do that is that all PRS shipments cannot qualify. They have to go within an area where we have a destination agent within 35 miles. The acceptable containers are either wood or corrugated. Now, when you actually go and do an estimate for this, you'll go to the residence, give the customer an estimate. You'll figure out your cost. Again, we'll figure out the freight cost, transportation cost, and the DA cost to deliver the shipment out. The destination agent will agree to deliver within 5 days of that shipment hitting their dock. That way we can guarantee that the shipment is going to receive expedited treatment. Always is responsible for the container count. And as far as valuation, it's set up the same way as household goods. One difference is that the payment must be collected before time of loading the shipment. We want to make sure that that's out of the way first. So make sure the payment is collected before loading the shipment. And the claims, if there's any claims, it's a 90% chargeback to the OA, 10% to the DA, of course, unless there's obviously negligence on the DA's end. And Stephanie Huseman is our contact. She will set up the PRS shipment for you. There's her contact information on the screen. If you decide you want to explore doing a PRS shipment, please reach out to Stephanie and she'll get that set up for you. Any questions?
All right, I don't know if there's any questions in here. So based on the poll, Doug, I mean, you can address this. It seems like a 50-50, whether folks are using it or not. We've got 10% that says they plan to use it this peak season. So the next time we do this poll, it'll be like 60, 70, 80% of the folks that we're using this, right? Right? That's a applaud there.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So let me just look through here and not hold you guys long, see if there aren't any questions. If I didn't get around to giving you a hand clap or an applause for the shameless plug that I asked you to put in here, then this is it right here. So no questions. Okay, so we'll move along. Before we go, got a couple of things to share with you before we go. So upcoming upcoming our marketing success group, and this is something that Jamie and Maddie put together to kind of share ideas about marketing from everyone in the network who handles marketing. And it's just kind of an open space to say, this is what I do, this is what I don't do. How about this? How about that? And we've had our first meeting a few weeks ago, and the next one will be coming up on the 30th of April. There'll be a lot more information coming out on that before, so look out for that. And if you missed the last meeting and you have some interest, or you are part of your marketing team at your agency, whether small or large, this is where you need to be. So keep your eyes out for that coming out soon. Week of July 7th, Operation Safe Driver Week. Just, put that on your calendar. All the social media posts that needs to be posted, put them in the van line. Every safe driver information that you have, plug them in our network, our group that we have, and tag the van line so we'll know which brand you're with. And I know this National Truck Driver Appreciation Week, I know we're like far away from September, but this begins September 15th, which is the last day of peak season. Great opportunity to thank our frontline folks, our drivers, and appreciate them for that week. So we're telling you this now so you can start planning. You can get the barbecue grill cleaned up. You can get the red carpet laid out. You can get the marching band together, and make sure you prepare for National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. And I'm sure that we will be reminding you about 20 times before that. So keep an eye out. So I'll look again. If there are any questions, there shouldn't be, but I'll look again. Thank you for all the folks that plugged in, jumped on the opportunity to have that shameless plug that you're Silver certified. Kudos to you guys. Todd will be very happy to hear that. All right, good. So having said all that, I thank you for your time on behalf of myself, everyone involved with this event, and the van line. Appreciate your time. We'll see you next time, and have a great day.